can't tell. Okay.
Wait, did we test the mic? Testing. 1, 2, 3.
We're here.
I gotta pee.
I do have to pee, kind of.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
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 How you do?
How you do? This is like, those like 5-minute speed dating sort of things. So, what do you do for life?
Okay, audio's fine.
Okay.
So, what do you like to do in your spare time?
I like to be pretentious and think about, long words. Like phenomenology.
I feel like calling yourself a philosopher in any way or like studying it is pretentious already because people are just like, oh, you're one of those armchair people that just sits there and then smokes out of a pipe or something.
Oh, yeah. That sort of Freudian muck.
Yeah, that's what Sandra said about you.
What, me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Just because you post like some random funny philosophy meme, she's like, oh, he probably thinks like he's a know-it-all and everything. Like, this is before she'd met you.
Wait. Did you show like the Instagram or like how'd she see that?
There was just like one meme on there, and I thought it was funny, so I showed her, and she's like, probably thinks he's like a know-it-all or something. I'm like, no. Like, just because somebody says they're or like reading about philosophy, obviously we're not like majoring in it or anything.
Yep. Yep. I won't say it, but will I think it? You'll have to tune in. Anyway.
Will I think it? I think about a lot of things.
At least not of all boobies.
From time to time.
They just come in.
Yeah. It just pops up out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you can...
Should we start with yours or should we start with mine? Should we wait until... Well, which one did you want to start with?
You can start with yours.
All right.
Your quote.
So
I forget what it was.
The quote by Stephen Jay Gould. Yep.
Gould.
Old science guy.
Gould.
He's kind of dead, but I am...
Old dead man.
Yes.
Dead man walking.
I think paleontologist. Anyway, so the quote goes, I am somehow less interested in the weight and convolutions of Einstein's brain than in the near certainty that people of equal talent have lived and died in cotton fields and sweatshops.
I remember what you're talking about.
Yep.
And you said something that had to do with capitalism.
I think it could be. It could be.
I feel like I felt like that was kind of a quote on general oppression.
That's what I was thinking.
But
because slavery existed before.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like to attribute oppression and inequality to capitalism solely, like as a product of that. And I'm like, it's been a product of just human discourse for a long time. Like, there's always going to be somebody who's better at something. There's always going to be somebody who just isn't making enough. I mean, at least right now, in terms of...
People just don't check their privileges. So they just forget. But
yeah, no, we haven't found any sort of system that can totally erase inequality. Like, I cry. We've done a lot in terms of leveling the playing field. I mean,
yeah, extreme poverty.
Extreme poverty is under 10% right now, worldwide in terms of the world. Yeah, good job, UN.
Good job,
almost
humanity.
Every country, except for all the countries that haven't signed up for it.
Yeah, Nicaragua. I don't even know. But
you can scoot it a bit. There you go. Yeah, get a little bit more intimate.
I can smell his cologne.
I just got home from the gym.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
it's my natural musk.
Nah, the body's cologne.
My Elon Musk.
Elongated muskrat.
You see those memes where it's like Elon Musk, and then like you swipe to the right, and it has like a gated muskrat.
I think I said the one where it's like, named Elon got fuck, I forgot what it was, but it's like where he builds SpaceX just so he can get some alien pussy. And then like it's on Twitter, it's like, damn, alien pussy go real hard.
He's gonna get it. He'll be the first one to get it. Whenever we find some type of aliens, they're gonna be like, "Who got you there?" And we're gonna point right at him.
That's when he whips out the elongated muskrat.
His own elongated muskrat.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, it's more or less the quote is more or less just that
just
sort
general
of
inequality,
oppression sort of thing. So, I mean, it figures. You know, some
I mean,
people die before they can.
That's depressing to think about. You know, I mean, I understand thinking about the people who couldn't make it, or the people who didn't have that type of opportunity, which is really what we're going for. You know, we're trying to make an equality of opportunity, not an equality of outcome. Outcome is not desired, but
true.
I think we're doing everything that we can, and I think there are definitely still strides to be made for sure. Have you read anything from Steven Pinker?
I know about him, and I know a lot of his positions, but I haven't read anything exactly. What did he say?
I mean, he's written a lot of books, but the one that he wrote right now, or recently, he just published it. It's called Enlightenment Now.
Oh yeah.
And it's pretty much talking about like all the achievements that we've made thus far in terms of everything bad in the world. And we've come a long, long way. Like, we've made a lot of strides within the past 100 years, and everybody just continues to look at the bad sides, which obviously we should. You know, obviously we need to still take on these problems, but I think we should take a step back for a second and appreciate all the strides that we've made in terms of, you know, inequality and health and economical problems and whatnot.
It gets forgotten in the whole haze of, you know,
there's still somebody oppressed and there's work to be done. It's just like, well, yeah, of course, and we're always working to make everything more equal in terms of opportunity, not outcome.
Yep. You still gotta get out there, boys and girls.
You still gotta try, yeah, absolutely.
Yep, you still gotta breathe that oxygen. That's the first step.
Oh, somebody coughed. All right, we gotta change the system.
Oh God, everyone has tuberculosis now. We're doomed as a species. Yeah.
I was when you said something about, what was it? I don't think it was about inequality. You said something about oppression. I'm not sure, but I was watching.
Was it in the group chat or like in?
No, you just said it like 2 minutes ago. I was watching this video. It was Ben Shapiro on the people in like that gun control movement and the people from the Florida shooting. And,
like the students, right?
Yeah, the students, because they're like, the movement from then on has gotten pretty insane. Have you been keeping up with it?
Kinda. I just don't really pay attention, just because like I like their, you know, message, but at the same time I don't like some of their methods. But like, what's going on?
It's like it's pretty huge in terms of people involved. Like, they're like protesting in front of the White House, like thousands and thousands of people against this, and I'm like,
it's bigger than I thought.
I thought it was so funny. There's one video of, it's like just I don't know if it's like an extended video and they've only taken a clip out of it, but it's them. It's one of the main girls. I don't know her name.
Emma Gonzalez. Was she like bald?
Yeah. She's there, and like, have you seen that video where she rips the Constitution in half? Have you seen that one?
Oh, was that the Constitution?
Yeah.
I don't think I saw the video, but I saw like a picture of it.
I think it was We the People.
Oh, that's a little too far.
Yeah, and she's like, she rips it in half, and it says, like, gun control now, or enough is enough, or something. And I'm like, the whole reason that these people are able to say these type of things is because of that
First Amendment,
of that thing,
the one that comes before the Second Amendment, which is what they're attacking.
They're attacking the Second Amendment, and they're ripping apart.
So they're just attacking all of them.
Yeah, it's just it.
That says amendment, like the Second Amendment.
It just seems so scattered, you know, in terms of where they're trying to go. Like, I understand. It's like I absolutely understand the strides that they're trying to make, but we have some of the strictest gun laws in the world. Like, in the UK, they I don't think they have the same level in terms of intensity of each law, but they have more laws. Like, you have to buy a safe, you have to be trained and all this stuff. And here it's like a background check. I mean, have you seen that video of like the 13-year-old kid going to a gun convention? And
yeah.
I understand that. That's something we can obviously, we're not perfect. We can obviously still make strides, but it's taking away the Second Amendment and like disarming all citizens. They've done it in a lot more countries, and it hasn't turned out well. Like they did it in Australia, they had that huge
Yeah.
gun buyback, and
Like what happened after
crime
that?
didn't go down at all.
Mm.
In fact, some studies shown that it went up. But their school, the Florida State, I think
Right.
they're off on spring break or something right now. But when they come back, all students are going to have clear backpacks. And
Really?
he's like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, have you seen him? He's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
that's
just like it's a
attacking our First
violation.
Amendment right, and that's
Yeah.
not okay. And I'm like,
It's not even attacking the First Amendment, right? 'Cause,
yeah, like it's
privacy. It's not
I
even
don't
the
think
Constitution.
that's the
but
First Amendment. Like,
Yeah. I think it's the
that's-
fourth. I think the
yeah,
fourth.
right to privacy.
It doesn't say privacy, but like it's what's the word? That's what they take from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this First Amendment doesn't protect that at all. Like I understand, like they're trying to make strides to making it better, and you can't just ban all guns because people are just gonna have other forms. And what are you gonna do? Like if somebody brings explosives, you're gonna ban all explosives, or you're gonna ban all knives. Like it's not solving the problem. Yeah, I don't think it's solving the problem. Like I mean, and they do have bans on like certain weapons. Citizens can't buy assault rifles.
Right.
There are certain guns that technically people think that you can augment to turn into assault rifle.
Oh, the bump stocks.
Bump stocks are not exactly that. They're just meant to reduce recoil.
Mm-hmm.
You can make that with like a pad and like a leather belt or something. I'm not sure exactly what a bump stock is, but I know that it's supposed to reduce recoil. It's like basically the attachment on the gun that goes to your shoulder. So it doesn't. What makes something an assault rifle is that it fires. When you hold the trigger, you can hold it down until the clip goes. A semi-automatic is just you pull the trigger and one bullet comes out.
Right.
That's what makes it semi-automatic or automatic.
You don't have to constantly reload.
Yeah. Or you don't have to constantly pull the trigger.
Yeah.
You still have to reload, but.
Yeah, it's not like like a pump. No, not a pump. I don't know guns, so I can't say, but I get what you mean. Like a musket.
Yeah.
Where you have to shoot one and then you have to reload the entire thing.
That's pretty much like bolt action kind of.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly. I haven't really looked into guns or anything. I do want to own a gun though. I'd like to own a pistol when I'm 21, but Sandra will let me.
Oh, is she really a gun control?
Yeah, she's like, I don't want a gun in my house, and she said she told me there's a higher chance of you being shot by your own gun than you shooting somebody else. I'm like, well, where'd you get that? Who told you that?
I don't know. That's only like depending, like if you're like
that's
carrying your gun around all the damn time.
Yeah,
and you don't have your safety
I'm not
on,
super for like concealed carry because that I can see the problems with that. Like open carry, when people can see it, they can see your gun. I'm kind of for that, so people know who has a gun and whatnot.
I mean, I'm guessing with that statistic, it's just like,
how many people comes from, but anytime that I use statistics that go against her points, like something from the FBI or any type of like more or less neutral part of the government, it's like FBI isn't really left leaning or right leaning.
Yeah,
so they can have like support per se, but you can't sway the FBI in such a way that it just totally skews off any form of studies or research or statistics.
You gotta pay off all the FBI agents.
Yeah, you have to pay off everybody.
No, I get what you mean.
I brought it up to her that more lives are saved from guns and that are killed. Even if you add up all the deaths in mass shootings, school shootings, whatever, it's still more people are saved by guns than are killed. It's like 30,000 people are killed by guns, something like that, and then like 150,000 to 2 million people are saved from gun violence. And she's like, where'd you get that? And I tell her the FBI, she says, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, is it only sources that you approve of that I can pull things from? Like,
Yeah. No,
it's hard to have a conversation when I pull up a source and she just doesn't agree with it because she doesn't like it, Or she's like, oh, it's run by the government, so it's corrupt and there's nothing going on.
Yeah, I mean, some of those studies, like, they were probably done during Obama's time. So Obama, like the president is in charge of like the head of the FBI.
Those statistics came out in like 2016. So
if not the CIA, but
that number for 30,000, like 150, or 150,000 to 2 million saved versus 30,000 to I think like 50,000 killed. came out in 2016 while Obama was still president. So
Yeah.
how much more in your favor can it get, really?
I don't know. I hate when like you're having a discussion with anyone and then like you try to do like some sort of
you're trying to be completely empirical and not like biased per se when you.
And then they just attack the source and not the data.
Like, oh well, nope, that's wrong. Nope, that's wrong.
Yeah.
So like, I guess I can only provide information from sources that they approve of.
Which is obviously going to back their argument.
It doesn't work like that. That's wrong. Like, it just seems like you're being emotive and you only approve of certain things. So it's really hard to have a conversation with her like that.
It's kind of weird. We get really emotional about like metal objects that fire projectile.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also because people are dying.
Oh yeah,
I absolutely understand. And I think that there are things that we can do to improve it, but just taking away guns isn't going to solve it.
Yeah.
So
I think we mentioned something before that it kind of is like a cultural thing too. So I mean, how do we attack that? I don't know, but. Taking guns, it might help to, or, like a sort of gun reform, it'll help to a certain extent, but it isn't going to
obviously
solve
like
the problem.
Gun reform definitely does help. Like, speeding laws helped. Like, there was no speed limit anywhere in like the 1950s, and they finally put signs up, and death by car accident, when they finally did, it went down to like 30 to 45%. So obviously certain restrictions help. Like, you're trying to reduce all deaths by automobile. Then banning it will obviously get rid of all of it, but it's going to kind of destroy the entire inner system. Like, obviously guns don't have that sort of leeway.
But still, they're so integrated now. So
it's a part of the world, and we can't get rid of it. Like, we try to get rid of nuclear weapons, it's not going away. Because there's always going to be somebody who just isn't following those rules or something. It's just, I'd say it's something that can be used as retort in terms of people saying that they'll do it to you. You know what I mean? It's like, oh well, I'll nuke you, and well, I'll nuke you too. So let's just not do it.
Yeah. Mutually assured destruction.
Yeah. So I don't know. Obviously, I'm not the one to. We're not the ones to say anything definitive, but
True.
we definitely have a say. And they're saying that they don't care about what other people say on the other side. Like they've said that publicly, and I'm like,
yeah, that doesn't help your cause.
Yeah, like, it's gonna hurt you. You should definitely. The way that you win people towards your side is at least in this country, is that you have discourse and then you persuade people. That's just how it works.
Some sort of dialogue. Like I think you mentioned, but they're very like emotional about it, and I guess it's a bit different with them because obviously they were there, right?
Yeah, I'm not trying to
at the same time though,
their position on it, what happened to them. I mean, there's only so far that I can understand, or
but like at the same time,
it affects every single person in the United States.
Yeah.
So obviously it's not, we just have to push yours because they want to save children, and anybody who isn't on their side is supporting the deaths of children or anybody that is killed by a gun, because obviously they're not. Just like in the same way, if you're not supporting the way that they're trying to instill transgender rights, that doesn't mean that you're transphobic or a bigot or something. Like a lot of people frame Jordan Peterson or even Sandra calls me transphobic because I'm for supporting these people and protecting them
because of the forcing of the gender pronouns, I should say.
They're forcing people to say it. It's not that it hasn't happened yet. Obviously, in Canada, it hasn't had that long for it to happen. It just came to fruition. I think it hasn't even yet. I think it's in this summer, in June or something, that it finally becomes an effective law. And obviously, it hasn't happened yet in New York, where it is part of the state law. But it's the idea that it has that possibility, and it is persuading or forcing people to speak in a certain way.
Yeah, I would agree. It's you can't just like an accidental outburst, not outburst, obviously that's intentional, but like an accidental usage of the pronoun. Well, that's an accident, and like they
Yeah,
didn't
it's an
intend.
accident,
But if they can prove that it's malicious, like that's like where I would support it, just because like okay, I guess that's kind of like hate speech, but
like, if it's like hate speech,
you have to prove it though. You can't just be like, oh, he called me a she, and I don't like that, and it was one time only.
The thing is, like, a lot of these things aren't gonna be on videotape, because these blurts are just in an instant. They're just gonna have like police body cams on them all the time.
Yeah.
And so that's the problem that I have with it, is because it's going to be a lot of, if somebody uses it with malicious intent, it's going to be a lot of just simply persuading the jury to either side, which obviously it always is, but in terms of like somebody committing a murder or anything, there's evidence. They have to use evidence. If you don't have a certain amount of evidence, you can't even take people to court. I mean, even if you do, it's already shot down because you don't have anything against them. But
I don't know.
Just shunning something for what somebody says, or suing them, or taking them to court for what they say, it's really hard. I mean, obviously, if it's like a recorded speech or something, but in New York, it's for civilians too. So if anybody does it, and they even say, articles supporting it even say, technically people can be sued if they accidentally say it, like just as part of law. It doesn't say with malicious intent or anything. Or did you read it? Did it say that?
I honestly only got like extras of it, so I can't say anything for certain.
I don't think it said anything about malicious intent. It just said if you do misgender somebody, you can be taken to court. Yeah,
that's a problem. And like it has to be specific, and like you said, since most of the times when it's gonna happen, it's probably not gonna be recorded. There's no evidence for it. So
all off eyewitness. I mean, unless you just want everybody carrying voice memo on them all the time, it's just really shoddy. You can really put it against anybody, which
I don't know. Like,
it's tough.
I gotta look into like other hate speech laws. Just like
Yeah, I mean,
what do they do with like people that with the N-word? Like you obviously can't just go up to black people and just be like N-word, because then you could get it to hate speech and whatnot.
Yeah, obviously.
So I wonder if it's like, if you could try to do something like that, because obviously like trans issues are a hot button topic, so it's going to get way more press than some of these other words that we've already been using. So
I can understand forms of hate speech and like having some sort of discourse for that, but that isn't compelling anybody to say anything. There's no specific words within the hate speech law that says you can't say this, you can't say this, you can't say this. It's just some words in like with an understanding of the situation, everything can be deemed that way. You know what I mean? Or if you can persuade them to do it. I'm not exactly sure how hate speech works within the law, but it doesn't prohibit any sort of speech at all.
Right.
It just says, if you use your speech in any way to like attack people in like very like harmful ways, because obviously there are words that are seriously harmful to people. Like they were meant to harm people. They were created to keep people down.
So I'll probably have to look it up, but I would say like if they can sort of regulate it so it's just that, because like with other like hateful hate speech words, like if it's like the N-word, S-word, or whatever, like that's always intentful. And then with this sort of trans thing, because a lot of times if they're not using hormonal therapy, if they're doing the surgery, if they're just that's just how they identify, it's just more likely for mistakes to happen.
Yeah, especially when it's like
it's just like in a weird area, because it's just like it's more likely to happen.
It's so gray. Like they don't have any definitive list of terms or anything. It's a spectrum, and any pronoun can be added to it anytime, There's no definitive. They say there's 47 intersexes, but then it could just keep going, and you can delineate anything anywhere, I'm slightly a little different, so I'm my own thing.
Yeah, it can go a little too far.
I'm for something like that being seen as something, a form of hate speech. I can understand that, but when you're telling people that they can't use certain words or they have to use certain words.
Yeah.
It's just like it's in the law that you have to use these specific words. And it's not even like defined about which words they are, you know. It's whatever the person chooses. That's when it's like, okay, well, like, how am I supposed to talk to anybody if they could just, you know, if this is one example that I use for her, like, say you have a bad interaction before you even talk to anybody, like you accidentally bump into them, they're having a bad day, what have you, and then like say you're working somewhere, right? Working out the front, you accidentally bump into somebody, they're having a bad day, because every place has those really shitty customers that are just trying to cause a problem, they're trying to get something out of it. And they win a lot of the time. Like, if they take people to court or something, unless they're, like, if it seems like the smallest inconvenience, people usually win. I mean, even if it's, like, a small settlement, the customers are usually always right. No matter what. Even if it's something just stupid. You missed one chicken nugget. Oh.
Have you worked in, worked in, like,
I worked at
restaurants
Veggie, yeah. We've had
retail?
some really shitty customers. And even in the 3-4 months that I worked there, it was pretty bad.
I figure. But go on.
Yeah, so say you bump into somebody, you accidentally spill something on them, they're really shitty, and then you go up and to the front, and then you talk to them, and you say, like, excuse me, sir, you're not going to say, like, they.
Yeah.
What's up,
some
they?
weird.
Excuse me, they. Like,
third person.
You'd have to create a new noun or something.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you're not going to go up to every single person, hi, what's your name, what's your pronoun? You know, you're just not, that's too much of a waste of time.
And you can't really be like, hey, you, because obviously that's kind of rude in the customer service kind of thing. So, yeah, it's there has to be some sort of, it needs to be more, I guess,
defined.
Yeah, just because, like,
it's defined in some
if
way.
it's just vague, where it's just like any accidental thing. I was thinking, like, you know, if you're at work, maybe they hire someone new, and you're, like, introducing yourself, and then, you know, or you're introducing, like, the new coworker, and you don't know about their gender, whatever.
Yeah.
So then you're like, oh, so this is, you know, like, you'll just use a pronoun since you're in the workplace.
Yeah.
It might be even
and
more.
Like, calling somebody by a specific pronoun, like he or she, is usually based on what they look like. It's not a form of disrespect or anything. It's just, what can you see without having to have a discourse with somebody?
Right.
Without talking to somebody. Like, there has to be, like, what are we going to do? Wear name tags all the time? This is my pronoun.
Your gender tag?
Yeah, like we're Jewish and in Nazi Germany, and we have to wear a star, you know, a specific, or, like, I think gypsies and a few other specific
homosexuals,
identities had to have a specific tag on them at all times.
Right. Yeah, that'd be a little too much. Because, like, not only that, but that would also, you know, increase their chances for, like, say, attacks. Because, like, if you didn't know, like, at UNLV a few weeks ago, like, someone was attacked just because they were gay. So, like, if, you know, if you have people that are willing to, you know, attack people, like, if you have those specific, you know, markers that say, oh, this person's, you know, trans, you know, that would also,
that would make them
it would
more
backfire.
Open. They would be more open to attack because you can easily identify these people.
Yeah, it would backfire if they have that sort of weird indicator, like, you know, it probably did with the Jews and whatnot.
There's no way to force people into acceptance. Like, obviously, there's some forms of affirmative action, like for black people in the 1960s when they had to force people into, like, colleges and schools and whatnot. And that's something I can understand because these people, like, were out to get these people. Like, it was the whole population of certain areas were out to get, obviously not the whole population, there were some, but there were certain, but it was like large groups, a vast majority of people out to get the, you know, this specific group, and you had to have some form of action because they were still human beings. Like, they didn't consider them human beings. That was the problem. And I think,
yeah, because you still see, like, remnants of that still today.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just very small. It's very small.
It's very small, and it's going to be around forever.
There's
that's always going to be
unfortunate
that
fact.
It's everywhere. You can't, even if you force it in law, unless you're literally listening to people's thoughts and, like, controlling them in every possible way, like it's North Korea or something.
Yeah, that's when it's
there's
just
no way
far
to completely eradicate it.
Yeah.
So
in a free society, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so I think we'll have some form of recourse for these actions, but I think just
we can't micromanage it.
Yeah, there's no possible way to micromanage it until we get obviously to that point in technology where we can like listen to people's thoughts or something, but even then,
That's its own conversation.
yeah, that's its own thing.
1984.
I'm glad that we're not at that point right now. I mean, that happens at North Korea. If anybody has like, I mean, it happened in communist Russia or anything. If anybody said anything, like I'm reading Gulag Archipelago, and the laws were so strict. I mean, if you said anything that could even be remotely deemed as against the country, for capitalism, for Western society, against Stalin, like if you had a letter and one sentence was against Stalin or anything that they had going on, or it seemed like you were like a part of a terrorist group or something, 8 years, 10 years in a fucking concentration camp. No matter what. There wasn't even any trial. It was just...
Yeah.
You signed a paper that said you got a trial. And they would just torture you and force you to sign it until you did it, you know? That's like kind of what they have going on in North Korea. It's not police. It's
generations of... Like that generation punishment where it's just like, not only are you in trouble, but your kids are in trouble. And
yeah,
your
it was
kids'
like
kids,
people's entire family were like detained and thrown into these things just because. I mean, they even had kids. There's a whole entire chapter about kids and laws against them. Like it was supposed to be kids 12 and up are viable, or kids 12 and up, between like 12 and 14 were partially, or they were only responsible for like some laws, like obviously they were kids, and I think 14 and up you were considered an adult and you could be tried for anything. And then in some areas they didn't even care about age. Like there was a 6-year-old girl sentenced to 10 years in the Gulag. Like it's crazy. It seems like it won't get to these points where people have good intentions, but it can just be so easily warped, you know? So obviously I'm not saying that this entire movement will get to that.
No.
And that's not...
It's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, like once you start giving the government power to control your speech, that's when it starts going south, you know what I mean? They've done that in Canada. They started doing that in Russia. They did that in Maoist China. It can go bad very easily, so... I don't know. It's scary. It really is scary. Like watching these people talk about it, it's seriously scary. I'm just like,
yeah, they're just willing to give up everything for some minor comfort.
Yeah, and especially like taking away from every single person. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Sometimes I just don't know what to think or what to say. It just seems so abrupt and so extreme. For obviously there have been a lot of school shootings around recently. But I don't think it's the gun problem, because then they'll just, if these people want to kill these kids, they're going to find, or I mean, obviously anybody, they're going to find a way to do it. So I don't know. I mean, even if you ban all guns, people are going to get it. They're going to find some way to get it into America. They're
True.
going to find some way to do a problem. Like guns,
but
like drugs are illegal. We have massive drug problems in the United States, you know?
I mean, one argument I thought about that is that, like, you know, like you said, people are always going to find a way to kill people.
Yeah, but obviously...
But it's not like we can, like, you know, let's just forget about it and, like, legalize murder, since people are always going to find a way to murder.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying don't do anything about it.
Right. No, I
go. If you don't do anything about it, it's gonna get worse.
Just don't do, like...
But if you go too extreme,
it can
backfire.
Yeah.
So you have to find some sort of middle ground, because they're trying to go as far off as they can.
Yeah.
We've been doing gun reform and gun laws for a very long time, and it did a lot. Obviously, it hasn't fixed every single problem, and there's no way to fix every single problem to a T. But going that far, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
I really gotta pee.
I'll be here, man. I'll find a way to entertain
yourself.
The crowd of two. And I think one of them is that, and then the other one is that, man.
Yeah. Bathroom. Real quick.
Poetry slam by me. Should be here somewhere. Motherfucker. Today I thought of the library. Fuck. Today I thought of the library, of the winding and unwinding bookshelves, of the books that have never checked out. I thought of the essays, one well written and mal written. I thought of all that could have been and all that will never be. Some weird ass poem I wrote.
What you doing there?
No, you'll see when you watch.
I heard it. That sounded like some Mario.
Here, I'll send it to the group chat.
Much better.
What do you think, since we're kind of on that topic, it's more broader, but what do you think about like all the young people that are being politically involved now? Do you think that's good? I don't know if like, millennials are proportionately more politically involved, but they definitely are getting more airtime. Do you think that's good that more young people seem to be getting involved, or do you think maybe that's bad because they're young, so they're...
Well, I think it's good that they're involved because any laws that are instilled still do affect them, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, they should have some say, but I think the educational system has done such a poor job of teaching kids about the country and how to be involved, in terms of participating and even just researching these problems, you know what I mean? They just look at what's going on right now and then they react instead of, reading important literature of people that people were big in the past for a reason, They got big because they were part of serious problems. They were part of these serious countries that instilled tyrannical governments. I'm obviously not saying that we're getting anywhere close to that, but you should understand at least somewhat the history of your own country before you start making, or at least even an understanding of what rights and policies that we have right now before you start trying to take action against other things. You know what I mean? Like that one guy saying that forcing kids to have clear backpacks is...
What's his name? Like David Hogg or something? Like,
something
is it like that one really skinny white kid?
Yeah,
that's in that company. Yeah.
But saying that forcing kids to wear clear backpacks is an impact on their
violation of their privacy.
Yeah, the First Amendment. No, like on
yeah,
freedom
right.
of speech.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we have there's an amendment for privacy. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I think that amendment even says that the government, whichever one, they can't, local, state, federal, that they can't go through your property. Yeah. And then he's basically referring to that, but he thinks it's part of the First Amendment. Mm-hmm. So, we're going.
I was just trying to say that people should have more of an understanding of the system and government that they live under before they start trying to make entire legislations that affect every single person within that system in that country, you know what I mean?
Before they try to change what they don't know.
Yeah, I think it's funny that people diss Jordan Peterson for what he's saying, and people said he's trying to empower white men, in which in a sense that he is, but only in the sense that he's just trying to...
You could probably apply it to any young man, though. Yeah. I know that there's a lot of young guys.
It is he doesn't.
I know that he focused more on the masculine, but it doesn't have to be necessarily race. I think it could be
it's absolutely not that.
Just a small comment.
He directs his message towards young men, just generally, because I mean, if you listen to his lectures and what he talks about, it's pretty much for everybody. Like these are lessons that anybody can take on that will help enhance their lives, and these are types of lessons that have been around for millennia. I think he's just rewording it for the time now, and I think that's something that we have been missing. Like obviously religion was for mainly like in the time that it was instilled, you know, like thousands of years ago when people didn't understand the world or themselves or their mind or what was going on, and it gave them some sort of structure in that time. Like Christianity did that. Obviously there were shitty parts of it.
Yeah.
I think we all understand that there's shitty
With
parts
all
of any
religions,
system.
though,
Yeah, but it also helped a lot of people.
That's
you
true.
know, and structures in their own lives, and I think
They gave
that
them meaning.
I think he's trying to extract those understandings and I guess rules for people's lives. He's not trying to instill like tyrannical laws upon people, but he's just trying to say that these types of ideas of governing your own life yourself have been around for this long time, and people still talk about it and say that because these things work. Like these things do help people, and they help people structure their own lives. And he tries to direct that towards men because he feels like we're so focused on empowering women and everything.
Yeah.
Which obviously is
it's good, but
it's
just
absolutely
like,
a good thing.
It's only one half of the population, though.
But we've just totally forgotten about the other side, because men have always been on the right side and had it so good forever. And well, don't get me wrong, they've been in power per se, but I mean, if you look at the women's rights movement, like right to vote and everything, it was actually like 30 of people who were marching for women's rights was only about 30% women. Like a lot of women didn't want that because they knew that being part of the draft and all the responsibility that came with it, they didn't want that. And it was like about 70% men that were fighting for them, so it was like the men that got them there. I'm not saying that it wouldn't have happened without their support, because obviously it had to be them saying it for that to happen. But
yeah, it's something to point out.
Yeah, it's both sides. Like we can't just ostracize an entire half of the population, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because like a lot of times, like it does seem like, you know, like when it's trying to empower women, like it not only is it trying to empower women, but it's like attacking men. You know, it's just like how dare you have a penis? And
yeah,
it's just
you're hyper masculine because you're fighting for your own right and your own place, not like right, but your place in the world and whatnot. And,
no, I get what you mean.
I think that some feminists are trying to fight for people like men to just step out of the way to let women like rise up in terms of economical placement, political, what have you, just the jobs in general. And I'm like, well, if you want to work within the system, you're gonna have to fight against men, like in terms of like jobs and economics. Like if you want to get higher pay within a company, and you're gonna have to go against men and women. You're going to have to fight against men and women to show that you deserve it. Because there are women in, you know, Fortune 500 companies. I think it's like 12 women are CEOs of the Fortune 500 companies right now.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, it's because men are keeping them suppressed. And I'm like, no. Obviously, there are certain companies that are a little sexist. I understand that. Don't get me wrong. But it's also women's choice to do that. You know what I mean? Like even in terms, like if you look at the Scandinavian countries where they've tried to level out the playing field as much as they could, and get it basically just bring it down to choice and opportunity. These margins like kind of expand more. Like the people in the nursing field, it's like I think 1 to like 15 women, men to women. And then engineers is about the same as men to women. Obviously the opposite way, but
yeah,
it's their choice. Like we have to understand that people have choice. I was on the plane ride back.
Oh god, you guys are like, no, go on. I'm just thinking about it.
It's just.
Were you just thinking like it wasn't like a dog? Wait, like go on, just go on.
No, okay. So we're on the plane ride back from New Orleans, and we have a female pilot.
Right.
She's the one doing the overcom stuff and flying the plane, whatever. And she mentions that there's not a lot of like female pilots. We need to empower women to get into these positions. And I'm like, obviously they have the opportunity to, or else we wouldn't have a female pilot right now. Like, I'm sure there's some sort of like sexist oppression there, but it's not as big or it's not as big as people think anymore. It's not that much of a problem. It's still a problem, but it's not to the point where they're keeping women out of certain positions. Like, it's just down to their choice. You know what I mean? Like, just women aren't choosing to be a pilot. They can. They rather choose to be like flight attendants or nurses. Women can become doctors. They can become anything. It's just they have to accept that they have to fight against anybody else in the field that are fighting for that position, you know? And it just so happens to be men as well. It happens to be other women.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with that, I would probably argue culture does affect it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there are cultural pressures to go to certain things, but I mean, if
I think that there is still like a sort of, I don't want to say necessarily a biological, but there's like some sort of thing that, you know, it's just like, yeah, like even if you do like try to increase interest in like say STEM for women, it might only increase a little bit, but like a lot of them are still gonna.
Yeah, like if you look at this again, the Scandinavian countries, they're the model for it right now because they've gone so far in leveling the playing field. I mean, obviously it'll take a while for these levels to really come into full fruition until what they actually are. And they're going to be different across cultures, obviously, but generally they're going to be about the same. Like, women are more interested in people, generally speaking, and men are more interested in things, generally speaking. Men are more interested in dedicating their whole lives to a certain job, working 80, 90 hours a week, and women have like more interest in like starting a family and whatnot. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's generally speaking, it's a small margin, you know, it's like a 60-40, something like that. But it's when you look at everything, it's a pretty big margin about what women like and what men want to do. So I don't think that people are taking that into consideration at all, or at least if they are, it's a very small minority.
Yeah.
That into consideration.
I remember there was like a podcast by NPR. It was called Hidden Brain. And they had like a neurologist who was a woman, and then she said that you can, if you study like the neural patterns of men and women, you'll see that sort of thing happens. And she'll even argue that like, you know, men and women are just different, you know, structurally, like, you know, anatomically. Yeah. So obviously there's going to be some sort of difference in the neurological level.
Hormones running through the body and whatnot, and so they just have different desires. That's kind of just how it works, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I really hate having to say that, you know, we have to come out right and say that we acknowledge that there is oppression. Like, obviously, there's a certain extent that you should have to do that. You should say that you do acknowledge that, but anytime anybody says something that doesn't go with somebody else's view, like say feminists fighting for equality for women, you have to say, or else they'll think that you're sexist, that I understand that there are these problems, I have seen it myself or something like that, I've seen the statistics that were there, but I think it's just annoying that you have to say that, you know? Or at least to the extent that people do right now. They have to say that any time that they say something that isn't in line with somebody else's views, and I think it's stupid. But that's the culture that we live in. People are sensitive.
Yep. Should we go into your question?
Yeah, if you want to. That's like a whole entire monster to take over.
Our faith and science enemies.
We are diverging in a completely different universe.
Yeah, get that think emoji.
Our faith and science enemies. I think to a certain extent they are. It really depends on who's in what position and how firmly they believe and how seriously they take their religion. You know what I mean? Because obviously there are creationists who completely believe that the Earth was created 6,000-7,000 years ago, and it took 7 days to create it, and there are people who follow a certain religion, but only believe like for themselves. It's just it helps them personally in their personal
spirituality sort of
life.
thing.
Yeah, and I think spirituality is definitely something that is part of every single person's life. And I think when Nietzsche said that God is dead and we have killed him, it was a really big thing, because I think what made it such a huge thing in terms of religion is that it offered a lot of people stability in their lives for them spiritually and emotionally. And I think if we're getting rid of spirituality in its totality, it's kind of a bad thing, you know? It doesn't... You can be successful economically, you can be successful personally between people and whatnot, you can have a lot of friends, but if you aren't successful in the terms of that you accept yourself and you deal with your emotional problems and you find some solace in some things, it's you, I guess, corrupt yourself or become a nihilist, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think that's really where nihilism started, was people were announcing religion because of science.
So like Enlightenment thinking, where they were starting to detach themselves.
Yeah, but I think we're rebounding a bit. You know, we went really far, and suicide rates obviously have always been fairly high. And I think that taking religion to the extent that it had been for the longest time was too far. We'll just call that right. And we'll call it left, just because people think that people on the right are just all religious fanatics or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Or just too indulged in their religion to
right. Not always, but
yeah,
that's typically
it's just like
image.
if you generally think about it, there's more religious people on the right than the left. So we'll call it the left. Religion took it too far left, and then Enlightenment took it too far right, and people just found no reason in the world. And I think we're starting to find that sort of middle ground that says, okay, religion is for you, and science is for, I wouldn't say everyone, but it's an understanding that doesn't need anybody's belief for it to be real. It's just an understanding of everything that's going on around you, inside of you, and then religion is for you personally, like your feelings and finding solace in everything that's going on, and understanding the problems of people. Like obviously psychology only gets you to a certain extent, so I think that they are enemies, like I said earlier, to a certain extent, but they're also they can exist individually.
No, yeah,
because they do. You know, there are people who believe in religion. They're still scientists, and they still make strides.
Yeah, I think the physicist Richard Feynman said that it's possible for scientists to believe in a god. It can be, you know, the Abrahamic God, or it can be any, you know, Hindu type of God. Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be. It's just like a lot of times that it just rubs against that fundamentalist view, where, you know, you see the Bible as word, as law, but then it's just like where you see it in science, it's just sort of, you'll see those counter arguments, and then because obviously science is more empirical rather than, you know, the stories of the Bible, and you know, scientists, if they are like, you know, that hardcore scientists, they'll probably be more inclined to believe the empirical evidence than you know
but when you go too far right, at least the way that I described it, and too far scientific and empirical,
it takes away from the humanity.
Your internal like spirituality, and people say like souls aren't real, but it's kind of like connection with your inner self and accepting who you are and whatnot. It leads to the same way that taking religion too seriously does. It's obviously not in the same form, but in terms of just being disconnected from one side or the other, there has to be that balance, you know? That yin and yang, to be in that perfect spot right in the middle. I like that yin and yang symbol. I'm probably going to get that tattooed on my body somewhere. Yeah. So you find that everywhere. Like, obviously, it's just a notion of chaos and order, but there's always two sides to everything. I think that's pretty true.
The dialectic, dude.
Yeah.
The dialectic. But
so,
would you do it on your arm or where?
Probably. I was probably thinking of my forearm or something. Maybe like right here. Because I already have a tattoo right here.
The titties.
Yeah, my Yiddy tattoo. Oh.
Did you do chest?
Yeah. Dead. I had to buy pre-workout, and I don't know what it has been, but I've been like the past few days, but I've just been so tired. Like yesterday, I was doing back, and I had to leave. I went home. I went to the store, I bought some stuff, but I had to go home. I was just too tired. I didn't get a lot of sleep a few nights before. We'd been out, and I've still been jet lagged. I really don't like flying. I get like motion sick the entire time. From the moment that we land, lift off, to the like hours afterward, I get motion sickness. Been like that my entire life. I can't ride in cars for longer than like 5 to 10 minutes without getting motion sick.
Even when you drive?
When I drive, that's the only time that I don't. You know?
Oh, okay.
But obviously, I'm not driving. I think it's just my body and my mind's understanding of like being in control and exactly where we're going. You know what I mean?
So would you usually volunteer to drive road trips?
Yeah. I usually always do. And people are like, oh, I want to make you drive the whole way. And I'm like, I want to, because that's how I am most comfortable. Like, I don't take it as me trying to control the entire situation or whatnot. I just don't feel comfortable, you know what I mean? So.
For sure. Did you get any word on your work, if you'll be free Wednesday, or you haven't?
Oh, I haven't put in anything for it.
For sure.
They do that like every Wednesday, right? Pretty much. Find out if there's like a certain limit that he wants for people to like
workshops
consistently come.
Yeah, because
if he does a workshop like and it's Wednesday, I will make time every single Wednesday for that time.
Like if we do a workshop, I think we might do something different, just because like I'll talk to them and I don't know what else they really do.
It's not like every Wednesday. I don't know if he'll want to do that every Wednesday.
Yeah, because I know that my professor he does have classes. He still teaches, but the other professor, he's retired, so I think he has a little bit more
Is that
open.
The young professor?
Both of them are. It's just one of them was like
one of them works,
doing the therapeutic model, and the other one was just like the more. He was doing like a psychology, but it was more, I guess, scholarly sort of thing.
So like more the philosophical side.
Yeah, because he was still like a PhD in like psychology, but yeah, he never had a patient. He was a psychologist, not a psychiatrist.
Kind of like Peterson in terms of his teaching. I mean, obviously he's a clinical psychologist, or he was. He stopped practicing because he just didn't have time for it. But if it was a workshop, I'd come to that consistently. I'd always go. But in terms of, I'd have to know what time it was.
So I'll probably talk to them if they want like a specific amount of people, and then if they want to do a workshop.
Continue to do it.
Because they used to do it, and I think it was on Buddhism, but they're both. It's both topics that they're really into. So pretty sure they'll be down with anything. It's just that
they want people to consistently go.
Yeah, and it's just like in Vegas, not that you can't find people, but it's just like it's not one of those cities that has those like
one of those cities with
heterodox thinkers.
Yeah, or something, or that type of idea seeming like it's desired or more thought about by the population.
Yeah, I think
at least the students within UNLV or something. I don't know. If they take like people outside of school.
Oh no, they're fine with anybody, just people. Because I think they said like you could probably find something like that in Santa Fe or some, more, not suburban, but like more. I get like Portland or like those other cities, not
more
necessarily.
Open idealistically.
I guess I am.
More left leaning.
Yeah.
So I can understand like left side, West Coast. Yeah. Santa Fe. That's
in New Mexico. So
okay, yeah, I was gonna say.
I think that's because that's where my professor he went to. University, and like he went to Pacifica, and I guess this university that was founded by Joseph Campbell.
On the West Coast, right? In California?
No, it's in. Actually, I don't know.
Is that a college?
It's like a university. Yeah, that's where he got his graduate.
Yeah. Pacifica is also like a high school. That's what I was thinking of.
Oh, okay. No, and then it was like founded by Joseph Campbell and all this, so that's why he has that interest in that. But I'll let you know. I know like some other guy, he lives in Vegas, and like he just reached out to me just because he heard so. But set number, I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, I'd go to it. Even if it was like a small group, that would be really cool.
Which is what I think we'd probably doing Wednesdays, but I'll talk to him.
Well, yeah, I mean, if he's just getting together with him and the other professor and talking, what do they do? Have you been
They just hang out. They just
hang out, talk.
yeah. Because like when I just went there, because I was originally gonna go with Koa, but
Yeah.
then like he like slept or whatever, so it was just me and the
Probably
two.
just bailed us, I think. Like Matt.
He says that like he was at Mount Charleston until 6, and so
Oh.
you know.
Beforehand or that?
Yeah,
The day of?
like the day of, like he woke up or he went to sleep at 6, and then he slept for like 2 or 3 hours. He responded to a text that he was still gonna come, and then he just fell asleep. So it was a little weird, but you know,
Yeah,
whatever.
I got you.
And then, yeah, I mean, like when I just went there, it was just like just 2 conversations about random shit, and I would just try to.
Let me look at calendar for a second because I requested an extra day off for when I'm going to go to San Francisco for Jordan Peterson's lecture. I don't know if that ends on a Wednesday. Let's see. It's not. It's in May. I don't know if they'll still be doing that then, but
Should we stop the stream, or should they
Wednesday.
witness what we're talking about? Our going on.
I don't think it matters.
Our mundane day to day.
Yeah. It might be back Wednesday, man. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll see if I can like switch a day out with somebody or something.
Yeah.
Because that's something that I would love to go to. Probably soon too. I mean, I just had a few days off. That's why I'm like,
Oh no, I got
request
you.
some more days off.
No, I mean we can reschedule.
Well, yeah. If they can only do it Wednesday, I'll figure some way out to do it. They don't
No, I mean like another Wednesday or just something.
Yeah.
Just so.
If it's every Wednesday, I'll figure it out. Nobody has to reschedule anything. When do they meet? Like noon? You said
Noon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I work like 9 to 5. So.
No, I got you. It's a little weird, I would say, just because like there's 2 old guys that are retired or close to retiring, so
Yeah, I know.
they have any day to relax. So, I'll talk to them, see if they can do like a different day or different time, and then if we can do a Wednesday, if they can only do that, because they might be busy. I don't know their lives. I can just say another week.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, they get together every Wednesday, right?
Every Wednesday, it's more or less, and I think they have other people too. But
Yeah.
they had like a sort of what I call like a Vegas Vienna circle, where they just had like a group of like 12 people that they were all into.
Eating sausage.
I think they were all guys, so it was kind of a sausage party, like Vienna circle, like Freud, Jung, Adler, that sort of stuff. Because like they were all into like psychoanalysis, so it was just like an interesting little thing.
Do you participate, or you just like sit there and listen to what they're talking about?
When I went there, it was just 2 guys, because like unfortunately most of them passed away, so it's just those 2 left.
How old are
and
they?
I think in their 60s, I'm sure.
Oh, well, they got some.
It's not like they're 80, 90, but like you can definitely see that they're not in their prime.
Yeah,
but
they got time. They still got time. We still have time to learn from them.
True. I mean, I think my professor sent a reading list. I can send it to you if you want.
Oh yeah, I'll take it.
Yep.
I'm trying to build up that.
Analytical psychology.
I look at used bookstores and whatnot. Wherever I go, I try to find their own like personal bookstores because I want to find like old Jungian works. When I go to Borders or I have to order it online. I'm like,
do you know? There's 2. One of them is a little bit more recent, and I think they'll have more newer books. But I think there's a bookstore on like near the West Charleston campus of CSN. Is like on Sahara and something. Anyway, it's called like the Unicorn Bookstore. I have their card, so I can send you like the thing. But they have like a lot of used books.
yeah. There's this one store right next to where I live. I think it's on Sunset. It's on Sunset and Eastern, I believe. I have to look at it, but it's a used bookstore. They have a whole bunch of old shit.
Is it like right next to the Sunset Park?
I think so. I think that's where it's at.
There's like a few like company buildings or something like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because. Yeah, it's down there because it's right next to Sunrise Coffee. Something like that. Yeah, Sunrise Coffee, because there's Sunrise Coffee and then there's Madhouse. Sunrise Coffee is on Sunset and Eastern, so it's right next to that. I'll have to look into it.
So like a guy bookshops. I just look.
Is that it?
I don't know. I just.
It's like oh no, but that's.
Oh wait, that's on Eastern. Never mind. I saw the Eastern, so I was like, oh shit.
Did you look up like used bookstores?
No, I just did bookstores. Okay, yeah, because it's showing the Barnes and Noble.
Because it just says books on there.
Oh, okay.
when you see it outside,
Books?
it just says books on the outside. I don't remember the name of it, but if you look up used bookstores, it's on Sunset Main Street.
Okay.
I found some good stuff. That's where I read. I picked up a Mao book.
A Mao book?
Yeah.
It's like the red book, or?
I don't know what it is, but it was a book about like his own personal understanding of like his movement against empirical China. But it was a cool read.
Yeah,
I was reading it, and like I understand how people they're more lighthearted and understanding towards communism.
Books or books, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, I think it's that. Books or
But
books, but it just says books on the outside. But I understand how people are understanding and accepting of communism if they read about it, because you'll probably read something from Lenin or Marx, or if you read from Mao and his understanding of it, these people all have good intent. You know what I mean? So it's like really easy to be
like the road to hell is paved with good intentions. That sort of stuff.
It's like it really is. When I think about it, I've never heard like a truer statement. But if you like, because I hadn't heard about Mao. I mean, I
you know about like the history.
I understood communist China, but I didn't really know who Mao was until I read that book, and I was like, oh, this guy's actually really cool, and like he made this movement for the people of China, and then obviously he killed tens of millions of people.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's
like with fighting up for it, he was fighting for the people.
Yeah.
But then everything afterwards.
Because it's just like if you're in the system and you're oppressed in some sort of sense, it's just like what I always come to think about is like, I don't know if you know about multi-level marketing schemes or whatever. There's those like
schemes.
Yeah, basically, and like Amway, Herbalife, that sort of stuff. Like a lot of them, they prey on like
shit like that.
Yeah, it's
they're dying on people, or they prey on people who don't know.
They prey on people who don't know, and then a lot of times they also prey on like a lot of poor people. They prey on like a lot of times it's like
it's usually
ethnic sort of thing.
It really seems like an
escape.
They fake sell things that seem like a really easy fix to their problems.
Yeah, and it's just like I think about it, and then it's just
money
like
to make stuff like that.
Like a lot of like their complaints, it's not even like a complaints about their lives or whatever. It's just like it feels like it's that sort of the sort of complaints that people like Lenin or Mao they would be answering to, because it's just like
people at the bottom are. It's when you don't have any money, it's really hard to get money.
Yeah.
Or get somewhere,
Yeah. So I feel like it's sort of that answer to those people. Just because, like, if you try to fix the system, a lot of times you might not get anywhere, or you might get sort of a...
Get somewhere, you might go in the opposite direction that you're actually trying to do. I think it's...
Right.
I think it's funny when people say that homeless people aren't good with money. Like, people take that offensively. Like, have you ever seen some homeless person get money and then get out of poverty? Like, obviously, I'm sure... like receive money from people and then get out of poverty. Like, I'm sure in some way that happens, but usually the main way to get people out of poverty is to provide them with their own source of income, like a job or something, or somewhere to live, so they can actually get on their feet and focus less on like the day-to-day, just finding something to eat, their next meal or whatever.
Yeah.
But like I understand giving like homeless people money. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, that's how they live, but...
Yeah,
I think it's so funny that people, like popular people, try to improve their image and reputation by like, oh my god, look at this video of me giving money or food to like homeless people. And I'm like, yeah, you're helping them in the very immediate, like right now, but if you're really trying to like help homeless people, you want to provide them programs to like help sustain them, like at least some place to like sleep and have a consistent source of like food and health, so that they can actually focus on something else other than the next meal that they're going to have or where they're going to sleep tonight. Or at least provide them, because usually homeless people can't get jobs because they're like, oh, you don't live anywhere.
Yeah.
You've been out of job this whole time.
It just gets like this endless cycle.
Yeah, it's just in this cycle. Like, you can give them money, I understand that, but that's not the way to help people who just can't get themselves off their feet.
They just like to comment about that. Like, whenever they give them food, it's always like some cheap, shitty,
it's like McDonald's or something. And I'm just like, yeah, that's like instant gratification because it's supposed to like taste good in some sort of way.
Yeah, but it's not nutritious. It's calories.
It's food. It's some type of nutritional intake, but like if you really want to help somebody in terms of food, like go to like a produce section and give them some clean ass food. Give them some fruit or like
something with vitamins.
I mean, obviously you can't give them raw meat or stuff they have to cook because they
you just throw a bag of meat.
Yeah, like here you go, throw it to the dogs and like they'll eat it, but they don't really like they can die from it.
Yeah. So that's just one thing I've noticed.
I was just watching somebody's video video on Instagram because he posts a lot. He's like, look at me, I'm a good guy. I help homeless people all the time. He's giving them like fucking Big Macs and like gas station sandwiches, or here's 100, here's 20, or I think it was like a little yachty or something. A little yachty or a little pump or something. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going out helping my community, and he's like tossing out like hundreds to kids, like little kids. I'm like, yeah, I understand helping them right now, but what you want to do is get them off the streets. Like the UN is actually doing progress because they're providing homes to people. They're providing like clean water and shit. I'm like, yeah, I understand. Like, giving them instant gratification right now, but really you have to give them some long-term solution. Just, like it's funny. A lot of people who grow up in the ghetto or something, and then they like they move out of there or something, and they come back because they're successful and they're trying to help their community. They usually like stop and leave because that community tries to steal from them, take from them, and I'm like,
or they don't accept them anymore. They just think that they've changed too much, and
they're
just
not
like
part of their community, or they don't support them, or they don't understand them, their needs, and like, well, what are your needs? Drugs, money, right now. Like it's not the solution, you know. Like we were watching this documentary, me and Sandra, about I forgot what state or what city it is, but it has 8 times the normal national average of overdoses a day. It's like usually it's 0 to 1 a day, like once every few days, but they have like 8 to 10 every single day. I'm like, damn, heroin overdoses. They were following this one fire department or ambulance chief, just her like saving people every single day. It's save one person, they got 2 down the street, they have 3 on the other side of the city, and they're actually trying to provide, like the court system and everything are actually trying to provide for these people for long-term solutions, you know. And I'm like, oh, these are the people that you should be gratifying and putting them up on a pedestal, not people who just give out hundreds to little kids. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing to help these people in need, like right now, if they needed some food or something, because you can't give them more, but you're not a saint. You're not really fixing the problem. You're just you're helping a symptom, not the actual problem.
Basically. You're just giving them Advil.
Yeah, you're pretty much, yeah. You're not fixing the problem. You're just fixing.
They're a fucking wisdom tooth, and instead of giving them antibiotics, you're giving them fucking Advil, motherfuckers.
Yeah, instead of like giving them the medicine that they need, you're just giving them morphine so that you take away their pain for a little bit. So.
And then that's how the drug cartel gets them. Now they're addicted to fucking morphine. Yeah. Here comes the heroin. Mm-hmm. No, but yeah, well, it has to be like a sort of. It has to be more than just like the
immediate
short term.
Yeah. And I think it's when you talk about like drug cartels and heroin and everything, the reason that we have such a large heroin problem or opioid problem is people get addicted to these drugs that they pay for in pharmacies and whatnot.
Oh, like prescriptions, right?
Yeah, prescription pills, and then they can't pay for them anymore, but then they turn to heroin or crack because either these pills aren't giving them the high that they need, or obviously don't need, but they're looking for it, or they can't pay for it anymore, and heroin's cheap. All these drugs are cheap, and they die. Like I was talking, I don't know if I told you, I was talking to this guy at the pool that I work at. He's from Canada. He lives in both countries for like half the year. but a lot of the police force throughout the country is owned by the mafia. Like they pay a lot of them off, and most of the drugs are they're decriminalized but not legal, more or less. Like they're about to legalize marijuana, but in terms of like cocaine, heroin stuff, they're not necessarily decriminalized yet, but all the police force is paid off to the point where they're not going to really do anything, you know what I mean?
Damn.
And they have this one drug that's cut with a lot of these big name drugs that is so potent that the smallest ingestion of it can overdose and kill you almost like immediately. It's insane, but it's so cheap that they cut a lot of these drugs with it. So it's really a big problem because they're not doing a lot about it, and everybody thinks of Canada as this really hunky-dory place. And I'm like, yeah, well, they're a lot of accepting. Don't get me wrong. Like it seems like a good place to live. They have universal health care, which is another thing to talk about. But
it's because of the drugs, man. It's because of the drugs. That's how they're so happy.
Yeah, they don't give a shit.
No.
What do you think about universal health care?
Shit. I don't know, man. We gotta fix a lot of fucking, I think, like, we gotta fix the taxes just because, like, I think, I don't know. Like, I'm for it, but I don't know if right now it's what we should implement it now. I think we have to fix a few issues before we can start with it.
I used to be for the longest time, I used to be, like, a hardcore Democrat because of my dad.
Yeah.
Or my mom, too. It's just, like, any type of Republican broadcast information or seemingly against Democrats was not okay in the household. Turn that off. Don't look at that. Obviously, it wasn't like a hard cut, but it was like, I don't approve of that. Obviously, as a kid, you want to make your parents happy, and you do. But right when I was pretty much 18 through 20, when I read about that Jordan Peterson thing and stuff like that, that's when I first felt estranged from Democrats and like the left side, because I'm like, I've always believed in freedom of speech, like ever since I was a kid. Like I understood the implications of it, and I had understood at least a little bit about countries that had taken it away or tried to force speech, and they were taking it away, and I'm like, no, this is what left fought for, like in the 60s and 70s, but now they're against it. So
yeah, it's sort of come 360.
Yeah, it's like,
or 180.
It's like in the 1900s or late 1800s when like the Democrats and Republicans like switched sides. Like Republicans used to be the left side. And
with FDR, right?
Yeah, something like that. I'm not sure.
Well,
like
I guess it led up to that.
Republican, Democrat, and then like the Whigs or something, and then it kind of just like switched places or something. I'm not sure.
The Federalist and the
but I mean, I was getting at because I was watching like Ben Shapiro. He's for, like, Republicans are for basic, obviously not all of them, but the Republicans who actually have a sense of what they're doing and what they're talking about, they're for basic universal health care, basic shit. Like, if you're going to die without getting this medical treatment, you should get that. You shouldn't have to pay for that. But, universal health care overall isn't exactly a good thing, because you can go break your arm whenever you want, and go to a hospital and have to pay for what you want.
Nobody wants to, I think, go to the hospital. I mean, like,
nobody wants to, but like it.
Like, are you saying that people are going to get more reckless now just because?
Yeah, it's just like, oh well, the government's going to pay for it, so I don't really have to worry about the problems.
I mean, I guess
it's not like a huge problem, but there, in a lot of countries that have universal health care, they also have a black market for healthcare, because becoming a doctor, you don't make as much money. Nobody wants to go into this field because it takes 10 to 15 years to become a doctor,
right? Or
at least like start your, you have to go through like 4 years of school, and then you have to go through like an internship, and then you have to go through residency, and then you're finally a doctor.
Yeah,
it takes so long. People go through that because you make money, but there's no money in this stuff now, so nobody's going for it. The healthcare that's provided is getting bad, and there's a black market for it, because if you're living in some sort of capitalist country, you have to have reward for these like really hard-fought professions. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I think I've heard of that.
Yeah,
so
that's in the UK.
Another thing,
they have that in Canada too. It's just the healthcare that you can get isn't good.
Yeah, and there's like long waiting lines and whatnot.
Yeah, so there's just a.
No, Scandinavian countries also do that.
Yeah.
Do they have the same problem?
I don't know if all the countries have universal health care, but the ones that do have. People don't talk about it, but they have like black markets for healthcare because the universal healthcare that is provided by the government isn't good. Like obviously you can get treatment for free, but taxes are extremely high because everybody's paying for it. Every single person has to pay for it. So
true, but then like when I start thinking about it, it's just like at the same time, it's an issue that people's lives are on the line.
Yeah,
in the sense
absolutely.
that it's like you can't get like obviously in those cases where you're in an emergency, like say in a car crash and you need to go to the hospital, they aren't going to deny it, obviously, because
well, it's like it's
that's
not
blood on their
necessarily
hands.
denying it, but
I mean like in the sense of
they're not going to take the health.
I remember there was like an example. Yeah, like there was an example of there was something like that, but it was basically this guy who got his wisdom tooth removed. And like obviously there's a lot of pain involved with that.
Mm-hmm.
So because he couldn't afford both the antibiotics and the painkillers, he only just went with the painkillers because he didn't know that, because the antibiotics are precautionary, they're not necessary technically, but
like the smallest thing could become
right.
So as long as you get it in the bud, it's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, so partially it's an education thing, but it's like also the fact that like he just couldn't afford it, so he just went with the painkillers, and then he just died.
Infection.
No, yeah, he died of an infection of it. So it's just like, you could say it's an educational problem because maybe the smarter thing would be to just get the antibiotics and then just get a bunch of Advil or whatever.
Tylenol,
but it doesn't cross that mind, and it's just like now it's just like some guy died partially because of
they didn't get the antibiotics.
Yeah, and you get like those are anecdotal.
Yeah, like if you're thinking about it's kind of like gun control. You can't just go super far to the other side, like everything. Like you just have to understand semantics and whatnot.
Yeah.
I gotta go pee again.
You hydrated?
I'm drinking a lot of water. So
I figure.
I went to the gym before this.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Poetry slam again.
Okay.
I heard you were doing that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Why is we Americans? Boudita, 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 beat, dee, 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 boudee, boudee, boo, boo, boo. What I want is me, for real. I want me and myself, and what that is what I be and what I see and feel, and who is me and the what it is and who it is and when it me is what it be. I'm gonna be here if I want, like I said,
Is that your poetry slam?
It was a guy's.
It's a rap.
Yeah. Relieved.
Oh yeah.
Woody-na.
I had to take pre-workout, but whenever I take pre-workout, it makes me like, so I gotta flush it out. There we go. I really want better cameras for this.
Better camera?
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like this is just look at that. How shitty that image is.
Yeah, dude, it looks like the kind of porn I masturbate to. The amateur.
The amateur, do it at home.
Amateur from like 2008.
Yeah.
You just see the guy's asshole. No, but anyway, enough about my weird habits. But yeah,
it's okay.
I would agree. It's with the previous issue. It's like, I don't know if maybe universal, but I think maybe
basic universal. Like at least it's a start. Right?
Yeah.
It's a start to an understanding of what we should provide needs to people. You know what I mean? We should also look at all forms of treatment, not just the ones that make money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's, well, I think that might also be part of the solution in universal, or at least basic universal healthcare. You know, because if like people are dying of cancer, it might not kill you immediately, but it's going to kill you. It will kill you. Like maybe some form of basic health care for terminal diseases, if you know that there's some way that you can provide something that will cure the disease or the illness, then yeah, but I don't know. It's obviously a very it's a very hard subject to get into because there's so many outlets and so many little things. That,
biology, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But I think there's also, in terms of healthcare, there's a bit of a problem with doctors not knowing every single form of
That's true.
treatment. You know what I mean? Like a lot of cancers that we get can be changed by what you eat. I'm not like I'm not promoting a vegan diet here or anything. I mean, a vegan diet can help, can cure. It seriously can cure a lot of forms of cancer. But I mean, even just basically cleaning up, like no more like fast food stuff like that. I mean, you can almost get rid of the entirety of heart disease besides like hereditary or pretty much that. It's the things that you're born with.
Your genes, yeah.
Like heart disease with a vegan diet, because no vegan food has cholesterol at all. That only comes from animal products.
Yeah.
And you usually don't have a heart attack unless you have some sort of plaque buildup in your heart. I mean, if you take steroids, you can. That's how bodybuilders have a heart attack, because that
vegan steroids, dude.
They've all vegan steroids are actually vegan. They're produced by wild yams. That's where they come from. They just recently started looking into steroids that come from animals, but it's been wild yams. I didn't know that. When I heard about that, I was like,
steamed yams.
Am I about to take this journey
down the rabbit hole?
Yeah, no, but
that's funny.
Yeah, well, but a lot of doctors don't know about that. You know what I mean? I mean, like there are a lot of vegan doctors that are actually like going out and telling people about this. And they say that this isn't, vegan diet isn't for everybody, but it's like, if you look at the physiology of human beings compared to like herbivores, if you're actually empirical about it, we have the physiology of herbivores. Our teeth, if your jaw moves side to side, it's for crushing nuts, opening seeds, and stuff like that.
I love nuts.
We have longer intestinal systems. That's for putting plants through it, because
they take longer to digest.
Yeah, and the reason that we have problems because of what we eat in terms of like intestinal and colon cancer and whatnot is because all of these foods that we're not supposed to eat are in our systems for too long. Like we get intestinal problems because the bacteria and parasites that are in meat, like they can get into our system because our intestines are longer.
Yeah,
like carnivores.
Intestinal flora.
Yeah, carnivores have such a small intestinal tract. It's so small. Like if you look at the human intestinal tract, it's like I think 4 to 6 times the length of a human body or something like that. I'm not sure. I feel like somebody told me one time as a kid that you could like wrap your intestinal tract like across the United States or something. I'm just like,
that's a little too much.
That seems a little crazy to me. I heard that you could do that with if you spread out your veins in a line, you could wrap it around the world. Though I think you can do that.
I don't know. Let's try it.
Like, because there's just so many. Like, they're obviously so small. If you put it all in a line, maybe, I don't know.
Yep.
We'll just use that as wiring.
Who needs some O positive blood on the other side of the U.S.?
What's your blood type?
O positive.
Same. We're universal donors.
You are?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're universal donors. I think O is positive is the most basic type, right?
I'm not sure. Here, let me check. I have my donor card. So.
I don't think I have my donor card in my wallet.
I'm always ready in case I fucking die. Yeah, I'm O positive.
Wait, one second. I might have it here. I think I took it out when I was cleared out my wallet.
Nice, dude. I wonder who, like, if once I immediately donate, who's gonna have me flowing through their insides, my essence, my ichor.
That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Who gets my blood? I don't have that, but I do have this because I have this because I.
What is that? Oh, corner. Wait, what?
You get this when you are caught with a DUI, you have to go through this training.
Why?
Yeah, but you can be caught with a DUI if you're in a car and the keys are in the ignition.
Yeah.
Even if you parked, and that's where I was. I was in, I was smoking with my friend, I think February 2016, in the Liberty parking lot, and they came up. They let me off so easy because it has to be an ounce or more for like a criminal offense. Thank God. I had like a little bit. We had just finished smoking all of it. We got out of the car and they're like, "You don't look that high anymore." And I'm like, I was really high. I was like at a 7 or an 8 out of 10. When they were there, I was like at a 12. I'm like, no, I'm not high. Yeah, no, it's been like 30 minutes or something. But they still caught me with a DUI because I was technically in there. But
what the fuck?
yeah, you have to go through the stain. You have to
A cob.
You have to go look at dead bodies. They took us. Like, you're in a coroner's office and they show you a thing, and it's like 2 hours. So stupid.
Did you get a ticket or any sort of?
Yeah, I got a ticket too, but
Do your parents know?
it was just a warning.
Oh, okay.
Wait, what?
Do your parents know?
No.
No.
They don't know that I got that.
They'll
If I
never
told-
know.
If they told them, back then, if I told them, they would have like taken my car away from me or something. I don't know, but thank God I didn't tell them. I'll thank myself for not telling them.
Who knows what kind of Connor we would have had now? A carless con.
I wouldn't have been here. I would have been dead. Yeah, but they show you like really gruesome stories. You know, like I understand for the people that were actually caught with DUI, like drinking and driving, like drunk driving, but they couldn't even test if I was high. You're technically counted as high if it's like there's residue. I don't know. I really don't know, but it was just because I was caught with it in the car and the keys were in ignition, so they just assumed that I was driving. But I was parked for like 30 minutes before. I don't know. It's so stupid because we were smoking in this area, like near the M, you know where those apartments are, or not the houses, the housing area next to.
Is it close to the baseball field, or is it far from that?
No, what's that elementary school right next to it?
Shore.
Shore, yeah, those houses around there. We were sitting in an area in one of those. There's like a cul-de-sac that there's no houses yet. I think they guarded that off because we would go around there and smoke. Because we tried to go again one time and it was gated off. But we're sitting around there and we had our windows down and we hear like people screaming out there and like doing some shit. So we're like, okay, we should probably get out of here in case the cops come around, you know? And so we go to a different area and the cops rolled up on us, lights off. There was like 3 cop cars around us.
What?
Yeah, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was so scared. I'm sitting there, and my friend Miranda, we were sitting there, and I look in the rearview mirror, and I see cars pulling up. I'm like, oh my god, the cops are here. Oh my god. So we tried to shove everything under the car, or under the seats. It was crazy. They were cool with her there, but when we got to like the actual municipal office, I got as much as they could reduce the fine for, but sometimes I think that it was because she was Hispanic that she got more of a ticket, because we got the both like same price before we go there. Then you like talk to them and they see your record. I think she had something on her record before. She had like gotten in a car accident. So
oh fuck.
One car accident, she totaled the car, like it was flipped over and everything. So like she actually drove on time. She was perfectly fine, thank God.
You still talk to her?
No, she was like a boyfriend. She moved to Chico. That's where she was from, but that's where her boyfriend was. I almost got a chance, but things happen, you know.
True.
I was a wuss.
And now you got a liberal girlfriend.
Which I'm proud to have. I like having her opposite viewpoint of mine. Although it
You're a yang to your yin.
Yeah. I think
you're yang to your wang.
Yeah, but she's so emotive in her arguments that anytime I have anything that goes against her, she's just like, and I'm just like, no, I'm not doing. I haven't done anything. Okay, I haven't voted. I haven't voted on anything. Ever. I didn't vote. I don't think I was 18 when I was 2016. I was 18. I just didn't vote. in terms of presency. So she's pretty crazy about it. I'll tell you that. She's pretty crazy. She yells.
Okay, well, the crazier the mouth, the crazier the head. Am I right, Brody?
Just fuck up. No, it's a good time.
That's what
I like it because she gets into like that intense defensive argument mode, and I'm just like, okay, well, we can test out my theories and not theories, but like understanding and my thoughts. So it's not too bad. All right, I think we can wrap it up there.
Yeah, 1 hour 35 minutes.
Not 35. All right. All right. Bye.
Bye.
We'll be back next week.
Hopefully with Matt this time, motherfucker.